introduced to Maine Med when I got my cancer diagnosis.
When I was born, I had a wrong heart.
And she said, "Oh, you're having a stroke."
I'd hear them say, "I'm here to help you. Do you know where you're at?" And I'd say no. And then they were like, "Well, you're at Maine Medical Center."
Maine Medical has got great doctors and wonderful nurses.
We provide services for our patients that are not available elsewhere.
He is here because of this facility and their people.
Having the flagship hospital be the place where we can offer the highest levels of care is the right thing to do for Maine.
Greetings, everyone. I want to welcome you. On behalf of Maine Medical Center, thank you for joining us. We are so glad to have you here. This event is a celebration. Maine Medical Center has been a pillar of healthcare in this community and our state for 150 years, continually adapting to ensure that every member of our community has access to the most advanced and compassionate healthcare possible. Today, we have a medical center that can even weather the storms of a pandemic, thanks to the firm footing secured by countless visionaries throughout our long history. We're excited to celebrate this milestone with you and together to usher in the next 150 years. We have a full house, full of friends, frontline caregivers, community leaders, benefactors, and even celebrities, one of which I have the pleasure of introducing now, our gracious MC for this event, Jenna Hager. Jenna, I'm a fan. Your family and the Barbara Bush Children's Hospital legacy is precious to us. I have the privilege of knowing your Aunt Margaret, who, like your grandmother, is so actively involved here at the medical center. Thank you for honoring us by being part of this special occasion. Jenna, let's get this show going.
Kathy, thank you for that lovely introduction. Hello, everyone. My name is Jenna Hager, and I'm so pleased to be joining you in celebration of Maine Medical Center. Healthcare is a universal topic, and the need for quality healthcare is something we all have in common. For the past 150 years, Maine Medical Center has provided exceptional care to Maine's communities. My own family has become closely tied with Maine Med's history in recent years. When my Granny helped found the Barbara Bush Children's Hospital, I remember her getting all dressed and packing her bag to go and be with the kids every summer, and she'd come back happier and filled with stories of these awesome kids. And when my own grandparents got sick, Maine Med was there for us and for them. As you can imagine, Maine Medical Center has a special place in my heart. A solid foundation has been laid over the first 150 years of Maine Medical Center's history. As we are about to see, there are so many achievements and advancements that have taken place at Maine Med throughout the years, and all are worthy of celebration.
Our story begins
as the Civil War ends in 1868.
American soldiers,
doctors,
nurses returned to their communities
and realized that our state needed something that it didn't have.
One centralized hospital to care for all 700,000 residents in Maine.
So Governor Joshua Chamberlain signed an act to establish Maine General Hospital.
And fundraising began.
By 1874, what is now known as Maine Medical Center welcomed its first patients.
In 1885, the first surgical teaching amphitheater opens.
And the hospital begins educating pre-med students.
A 2-year nurse training program is established.
And by 1900, Maine General is the center of medical education in Maine.
Through the early 1900s, technological advances like the X-ray are introduced.
And surgeries increased to 1,000 annually.
Despite the Great Depression, in 1931, Maine General added 4 new floors.
Recovery rooms, a modern marvel, adjustable beds, and an iron lung for polio patients.
Make Maine General one of the most modern hospitals in the country.
In 1951, Maine General merges with the Maine Eye and Ear Infirmary and the Children's Hospital to become Maine Medical Center.
The next 20 years bring many medical breakthroughs, from the first artificial kidney in 1960
to the first transplant in 1971.
Advances in cardiology lead to the first open heart surgery in 1959.
And the first miniature pacemaker in 1963.
The cardiac intensive care unit is created by 1967.
And the first coronary bypass surgery happens in 1972.
The Richards Building opens in 1969.
11 stories and more than 200,000 square feet.
It remains the hospital's largest clinical space.
The completion of the L.L. Bean Building in 1985 provides space for a new neonatal intensive care unit.
In 1991,
Maine Medical Center Research Institute is created to foster research and advance medical discovery.
The opening of the Gibson Pavilion for cancer patients
and the inpatient unit of the Barbara Bush Children's Hospital in 1998
is hailed as a quantum leap forward for the hospital's ability to provide state-of-the-art healing.
The addition of a heliport allows for the achievement of a Level 1 trauma center in 2007.
MMC's long history as a teaching hospital continues with
Tufts University School of Medicine and Maine Medical Center establishing the Maine Track program in 2008.
To date, more than 250 have graduated from the program.
MMC also affiliates with local colleges and universities,
placing more than 1,200 undergraduates annually in nursing.
In 2008, the Family Birth Center gets a new home in the East Tower, nearly doubling the neonatal intensive care unit.
By 2009, the emergency department expands into the East Tower, doubling their space.
In 2010, the Hannaford Center for Safety, Innovation, and Simulation is opened.
The innovation cohort, which turns our discomforts into inventions, is established.
In 2013, Maine Medical Center is named one of America's best hospitals by U.S. News & World Report.
A distinction they would earn every year forward.
In 2015, MMC opens a new trauma center, Surgery 2.
The expansion includes state-of-the-art operating rooms
and patient-centered spaces for surgery prep and recovery.
The Klume Family Tower addition in 2019 is part of Maine Medical Center's expansion and modernization project.
That add 128 private rooms and 19 procedure rooms for surgeries and other complex treatments.
The Linda and Diana Bean Sisters Heliport also opens, allowing for 2 helicopters to land atop the Klume Family Tower simultaneously.
For more than 150 years, Maine Medical Center has been a beacon of hope for our community.
As we look to the future,
moments of uncertainty will surely come.
But with the strength of our community at our side,
Maine Medical Center will be there
for the next 150.
What you just saw was the incredible history of Maine Medical Center, going back now 150 years, starting with a bill that was signed into law by then Governor Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain that created at the time Maine General Hospital. I'm Jeff Sanders, the president of Maine Medical Center. It's a privilege to serve in this role and to talk about the important mission of Maine Medical Center that started 150 years ago and continues today. And the investments we're making today will strengthen it for the next 150 years. On a personal level, I was born in Millinocket many, many years ago now, and was born with a condition that required care that could only be provided at Maine Medical Center. For 12 years, I had surgeries here at Maine Medical Center. I remember as a young boy getting on a fixed-wing plane in Presque Isle to fly down to Maine Medical Center for that care. That care was so important to me to allow me to grow and live a normal life. And increasingly, that is the story throughout our region of patients needing specialty care and tertiary level care, looking to Maine Medical Center to provide that care so they too can live a normal life. Today we're talking about a pretty significant capital investment in buildings. The buildings we're talking about are enabling features for what is an incredible care team. Nurses, doctors, therapists, our food service housekeeping team. But we need to make investments and renew the infrastructure we have so that that incredible care team can continue to provide the great care they provide today for the next 150.
Caring for our patient population is absolutely the #1 thing that our providers care about the most.
This is like air traffic control. We have a picture of the entire house. We know what beds are open.
Okay, thank you.
What beds are not open.
It was just coordinating a cardiac arrest from another facility to our cardiac intensive care unit.
R2, what number?
You can think of this as a chessboard. The patients are the chess pieces. We see a space and we move the patient to that space on the board. It may not be the primary location for them, but we have to find the best location for them.
You'll see the most number of hall beds in this area because that's where we had space that was safe to put a bed. When we give tours, I frankly think they sometimes are shocked. This is not busy. We still have patients in the hall. Or like earlier this week when there were 36 boarders, that makes it really difficult to provide emergency care. In emergency medicine, a lot of the difficulty for us is getting patients admitted to the hospital. One of the biggest pressure points for us is actually inpatient bed capacity. And you can see the dials in the red are the ones of how long it takes you to move to your bed upstairs are all in the 500-minute range. The dials of getting out of the emergency department are looking fairly ugly.
Which is very common these days, that we don't have enough beds. As the day goes on, we run out, which doesn't serve the community at all.
This is the LL Bean building where we have 4 adult ICUs. What's happened in the times since this space was designed and built is we've brought more equipment to the bedside. The severity of illness has definitely increased, and we are frankly running out of space for some of the interventions that we provide. If we were doing this tour at 6:30 to 7:30 a.m., you would see twice as many people and about twice as much equipment.
I appreciate it. Too tight, too tight.
The space really is a challenge. You know, we do get feedback from patients and families that this facility setting is really not what they would call ideal.
In this area, cardiac has clearly outgrown their space, hence why we're opening up a new tower for them.
What we're looking at in cardiovascular care is the concept of the heart team.
This is our biggest cardiac room. As you can see, quite a few team members in order to do a cardiac case.
It's not a single surgeon operating on you. It may be a surgeon and an interventional cardiologist and an imaging cardiologist and a cardiac anesthesiologist all together in the room to get you the best outcome possible.
And this is what we consider a big room, and it's still pretty cramped.
And that is the future for cardiovascular care, is this heart team concept that requires a different setup.
All the carts on this hallway are supplies for room 2 and room 11. And so we have outgrown this space, and so they live out here, and we come and pull from these during cases. It's not optimal.
To see a new tower that is going up that will allow us to work with the highest level of technology to evolve for what will be coming, which will be very different from what we have now.
The expansion project brings a lot of beds online, and the important part is it brings single patient beds online.
The tower will also provide us with more intensive care unit space.
In an ideal world, that work would be happening in the room with the patient. And one of the things that we're looking forward to in the new building is having enough space that family can also be present for this rounding.
Yes, that would be great.
For us, what we would be happy to see is having the opportunity to place a patient in the quickest manner possible for that patient.
What makes me excited is that we'll be able to provide the best care in the right space with the right tools and equipment for any patient that walks in the door.
Hi, I'm Jennifer McCarthy, and I have the privilege of serving as your Chief Operating Officer here at Maine Medical Center. You just heard a little bit about some of the pressure points we have here at Maine Med, and I want to drive that home just a little bit further. Think back a year ago. Think of where you were the first, second week in March, and we were spending all of our time watching TV, trying to figure out what was going to happen with the global pandemic.
Now have the new criteria that we're using?
On March 10th, we decided it was time that we really take action. And we stood up at Maine Med what is called our Incident Command Center. And that began the very long process of caring for the COVID population here in Maine. On March 12th, we saw our first patient. And within a week, we had not only figured out what we thought was the absolute best way to take care of our patients and to keep our staff safe, but also where were we going to take care of these patients. As you can imagine, at our high point, we had somewhere close to 70 extra patients here in an already full hospital due to the pandemic. If it hadn't been for the Colomb family and for other donors, we would not have been able to take the pressure off the state like we were able to do. The Colomb family tower, 2 floors on top of the beautiful mother-baby suites, were built for our oncology population. Within a week, we sat down with our oncology leaders, our infectious disease physicians, staff, other providers, and decided where was the best place to take care of the COVID patients that were coming. We very quickly moved 64 patients out of that new Colomb tower, and we dispersed them throughout the hospital. And we were able to then take what are called universal rooms, the rooms that people who designed this building had the foresight to recommend that could take care of any level of patient, regardless of acuity. And we moved all of our ICU patients up into the 6th floor of the Colomb family tower, where we were able to then open up our existing ICU and serve that in a very dedicated, closed away, contained space for the COVID patients. That happened in a matter of a week. We could not have done that. We could not have cared for the numbers that we cared for here at Maine Med without these 2 additional floors. In just a moment, you're going to hear from one of the very first COVID patients we had the privilege of treating, and he'll be able to share with you the experience he had here that we were able to provide him.
You know, you talk about decisions in life, a right turn versus a left turn, and where you might have ended up.
I knew Wednesday night we were in trouble because it took that long that his lungs had actually solidified.
This past Friday, is when he tested positive for COVID-19, and now he's located at Maine Medical Center. He's in a medically induced coma on a ventilator.
He was definitely dying, and there were times when they said, you know, we want to be hopeful, we always have hope. They never took that away from me. Everybody that I was talking to, they were human beings first. I just kept saying, you gotta keep trying. I don't care what you do, you gotta keep trying.
It's been taking a toll on all of us, not being able to be there with him.
I think about the team and the staff there a lot. Sorry. But they really ended up being my family.
I know that Sammy's holding that phone to your ear.
They would take their personal cell phones when Pete couldn't talk, he was still intubated, and they would be sure that I could say something to him so that he could hear me.
You are healing, you are making improvements and strides. You have the best care in the world.
You know, there's not one single thing you can point your finger at, right? It's the sum whole of it all. I really am just so fortunate that there's people out there that give of themselves, you know, for that. You know, they were there for me, and they didn't even know who I was, right?
I am crediting, genuinely from my heart, this facility and the people involved in his care. Thank God for their never-ending, relentless energy to not give up.
Welcome home, Dad.
You know, I say that there's probably 4 key reasons I survived COVID. Good DNA, God's will, the prayers of my family, and Maine Medical Center.
The COVID-19 pandemic has emphasized how crucial healthcare workers are. Stories like Peter's highlight the incredible healthcare heroes who have been brave in the face of COVID, doing whatever was needed to make sure patients received the care they needed. As a mom of 3 healthy kids, I know how lucky I am, but I, like many moms, have worried about the health of my family during this pandemic. This experience has served as a reminder of just how important it is for everyone to have access to a healthcare system that can support our health needs. For the Means family, who you're about to meet, being just 2 hours away from a hospital where their son Wyatt could receive high-level cardiac care has made a world of difference to their son's journey. As you will see, Wyatt is thriving and his family is grateful he can receive the care he needs without leaving his home state.
We went to our 20-week ultrasound. She immediately knew that he had a congenital heart condition.
I like to tell my friends about my heart. When I was born, I had a wrong heart.
I got to hold him for about 5 minutes or less, and then they whisked him away to the NICU. It all happened so fast that we didn't even know what to think. And then on his 3rd day alive, they took him and he had his heart surgery.
I have really good doctors that take care of me, really good people. They saved my life.
Wyatt's gone through 3 major open heart surgeries.
I didn't want to go because it's a long ride to Portland from here.
It was really important for us to stay in Maine. We wanted to be close to family, and we also heard what great care we'd have in Maine.
I'm so thankful for my doctors at Maine Medical Center. They helped me stay alive.
He tells us all the time that he has a special heart, and when teachers ask him what's special about him, he very proudly says, "My heart."
I love my scar.
When he's about 15, he'll need another open heart surgery, although we hope by then they can just do it up through his leg as a catheter procedure.
It's kind of the best place. They helped me walk, they helped me do stuff. They were really nice to me.
It doesn't affect him playing, it doesn't affect the way he learns, it doesn't affect how tightly I hug him. You know, he's just a normal little guy.
Hello, everybody. I'm Joel Butler. I'm the Chief Medical Officer at Maine Medical Center. Thanks so much for joining us. We just watched Wyatt's story together. It's a really good example of some of the great care that we can give at Maine Medical Center that is particularly done here and is a great resource for the state of Maine. But as I think to the future about this, after watching this story, I see the great opportunities for us to innovate. In this particular example, he had open heart surgery, but in the future, we could imagine in 5 years, 10 years, we approach this problem in a much less invasive way, which is much more patient-centered. Everyone should remember that at Maine Medical Center, we have a three-part mission. We care for our community, we educate our caregivers for the future, and we research. If you think about innovation, it is one of our key values. So several years ago, we started with our 5 core values at Maine Medical Center and at Maine Health, and then we added a 6th value, and that was innovation. Sometimes when we talk about innovation, it's something that's very tangential in our minds. In fact, people sometimes use the words and don't really understand how it might apply to them. But for many of us, this stuff gets personal. So back about 7 years ago, I had the misfortune of having what we call a carotid dissection, and I needed stents placed. It was really a truly life-altering procedure that had a major impact on my future life. What you're going to see in the next few minutes is a video of Dr. Robert Ecker, one of our neurosurgeons at Maine Medical Center, where he has innovated and is developing a new technology that will allow him to do work within the blood vessels of the brain, removing clots in a safe way that will take people who might have had very significant strokes and actually allow them to be normal. So for all of us, innovation is not always about the other guy or someone else out there who we never know, but it can be about us and to be in a community where we are lucky enough to have physicians and other care team members who are thinking about innovation, who are doing innovation, and to have a system set up where we encourage it is a pretty remarkable thing. We're incredibly lucky to have that sort of environment here at Maine Medical Center.
My wife came to the top of the stairs and she said, "What are you doing down there?" I spoke to her and it was all garbled because I couldn't speak very well. And she said, "Oh, you're having a stroke." She called the ambulance right away. They had already been in touch with Maine Med, and that by the time we got there, the team would be waiting for me. When they said, "Raise your left arm," I couldn't raise my arm, so I reached over and I grabbed it and I pulled it up like that. The next thing that happened was they started prepping me for surgery. You could see my brain on a screen. They told me, don't move because we're inside your brain. They entered through my right femoral artery up into my brain and they grabbed the clot with this device. This was Dr. Ecker and his team, and it was excellent. And as soon as they removed the clot, all my functions came back. I think I went home after one additional overnight stay, and when I got home, I took a 3-mile walk around my neighborhood. This was a very massive, debilitating stroke. To the best of my knowledge, I don't have any deficits as a result of that stroke. They explained what might have happened had they not gotten the clot out so quickly. It was the speed with which the ambulance got me to the hospital and that Dr. Ecker and his team removed the clot that made all the difference in the world. And it was pretty scary, and I still think about it today. My life could have been a lot different than it is right now.
Did you know MMCRI's research crosses borders internationally and domestically?
Our researchers have collaborations all over the world, including Europe, Australia, the Middle East, Scandinavia, and Asia.
We're bringing novel therapies to the people of Maine through our clinical research programs.
We are looking to see if we can design more complex tools and better tools for doing the work that we do.
We have an obligation to do cutting-edge research that changes the way we care for patients.
Patients like Spirit Eagle, and he is a classic patient. We know that without thrombectomy, under 30% of those patients are independent at 90 days. We know with thrombectomy that 70% of patients are independent at 90 days. It's a really revolutionary care.
We need continued investment in the infrastructure for research as well as the individuals who do the research.
Myself and an engineer at the University of Maine have actually just gotten a patent and started a small company to look at developing actually robotic tools for endovascular neurosurgery. MMCRI was crucial to getting our patent.
It's really, really rewarding as a physician and as a researcher to be doing work that we know has the potential to change the way we care for people and help save lives.
It's not that we can make a difference, we know we do.
Did you know Maine Health now has a dedicated innovation center to foster a culture of innovation where anything is possible?
Our 22,000 employees have the opportunity to support and shape the future of healthcare in Maine.
My father was an engineer, his father was an engineer, so I got to see that you can actually create something unique.
Dad was really sick in 2018, the spring of 2018. I was a third year going to fourth year of med school in the Maine track. He had lost a ton of weight, ended up going to the hospital. The surgery resulted in an ostomy, a hole through the skin that allows your intestine to be diverted so that it's basically outside the body.
You're trying to deal with an open wound, and I wanted to wear the belt. The way it's designed, it just interfered with my wound. You got this problem, what can you do to get around it? It's like a puzzle. I found a telephone jack cover.
Dad had cut a piece of plastic to make an adapter.
This allowed me to reorientate it the way I wanted to so it wouldn't leak.
I still can't believe you engineered the hand-cut piece of plastic so that you could loop around the wire tie.
And then you saying, maybe I could bring this to the cohort.
The cool thing about the innovation cohort was that you could be a part of innovation at Maine Medical Center.
The innovation cohort helps innovators take the back of the envelope idea and moves it forward. It's all about getting the right people in the right room at the right time.
It went from this telephone jack to 3D printed parts. The cohort made it possible that other people could have this.
And now they have the infrastructure to move an idea forward.
I don't know about you, but I find it remarkable that so many impressive advancements in healthcare are happening right here in our own beautiful backyard. Research and innovation efforts like those taking place at Maine Medical Center will help lead to impactful improvements in healthcare. Not only does Maine Med recognize the importance of investing in innovation to further patient care, but it also recognizes the importance of supporting its workforce in order to keep the healthcare system strong. Maine Med has a host of innovative programs that aim to build and strengthen the clinical workforce for Maine. Next, you're going to meet several people in different roles at Maine Medical Center and Maine Health who are furthering their skills and knowledge in order to make Maine communities healthier and stronger.
What does it mean to be a Mainer? It means community and understanding your neighbor. I grew up here, I enrolled in the Maine track with the long-term goal really being to come back to Maine and figure out a population that I could help take care of that was the most in need. Preble Street Learning Collaborative is a shared initiative between Preble Street, which is one of the major social service organizations in Portland, and Maine Medical Center. We've really started to understand the importance of the social determinants of health here at the Learning Collaborative. Even though we're a very small group, we're on the cutting edge of some of the things that we're doing. There's a huge percentage of medicine that happens outside of the walls of any hospital or any clinic. By being down here, we're getting a really intimate view of the issues that people are experiencing, and we're really able to think outside of the box and the usual algorithm to get people the things that they need.
The hotel behind us here is where people that are in quarantine as either positive cases or close contacts are staying, and we're coming out to see how we can help.
Existence of the Maine track, the financial help that comes along with being a Maine tracker and did for me was crucial, in the fact that I was able to go to med school at all.
I convinced him to go back to the hospital, so...
Right now we're a small but mighty team, but the need is much greater. You know, having support and funding would help us to continue doing research and disseminating the great work that's being done.
Whenever anyone asks me, like, why do you do oncology? I always say, we just have the best patients. My grandfather was a surgeon, so I always knew I wanted to be in healthcare. My parents were the ones that pushed me towards nursing to start with, and I'm very thankful because I was able to get the bedside experience, and I don't think you can really, like, trade that for anything. So now I am headed back to school to kind of finish out that long-term goal. I consider us so lucky here at Maine Med to have access to these scholarships and have these donors that are so willing to help us as students, whether we are becoming nurses or advancing our careers. Without them, we might not be able to do this. My goal as an oncology nurse for my patients is to have the journey to that ending point or finish line be as positive for them as it can be, and that we can be as supportive as we can be and help them through it in whatever ways that they need.
I started with a triple diagnosis at first: colon cancer, kidney cancer, and thyroid cancer. Thyroid's supposed to be easy. Well, that ended up being the bugger. After I had my thyroid surgery, I lost my voice completely for probably about 6 months. 2 years later, I found a lump. And so I started another journey with breast cancer. I remember when I got the last diagnosis, I just looked at the doc and I said, look, I've got too many things I still need to do. You've got to fix this. It was through all of these journeys that I stayed with Maine Med. I still do, because their coordinated care works for me.
Go time for the witches.
Sometimes it's just as personal as somebody asking, what did you used to do? And really listening and understanding about the things you love and giving you hope to bring that back. And that's why it's so special when I get to sing happy birthday, because there was a day I couldn't do it. And now I get to do it every time somebody's celebrating, and it's a celebration for me.
Did you know that Maine is home to over 4,000 refugees?
I'm so happy to come to work.
Everyone's coming into their career at different places.
I used to be an executive secretary. When I first come in the United States, I have to start from the bottom to feed my kids.
She originally was in environmental services at Maine Medical Center. We met with Hyatt, got a sense of what she was looking for.
I like to help people. How are you? The barrier was the English.
To let her know about a healthcare office certificate training program.
They offer a lot of developmental services so that they have a career, not just a job.
Now that I'm getting a little bit better for the English, there's a lot of opportunities. I want to be a medical assistant. I have 3 kids and I want them to see that even me, I did. You young, you can do. I think that Maine Medical supports everybody.
When you see someone achieve what they thought that they couldn't achieve, for me, that makes my day.
It's like a dream. I don't want to wake up.
Did you know that 40 Maine Track graduates, the equivalent of one entire class,
are now practicing medicine in Maine?
We came to town in 1974.
I grew up in Cumberland, Maine. I was actually born in Maine Med, which is a little weird.
We wanted to make sure that they got the same health care as you could get in Portland.
I went to med school in New York, but I always wanted to come back to Maine to practice and do residency.
Internal medicine has taken a hit over the last 5 to 10 years. The most difficult problem is recruiting physicians.
And the program director pulled me aside and told me about this rural internal medicine program he was working on starting up the year I was applying in it.
We decided we had to do something because it was fading away.
It seemed really exciting because as far as we know, it was the first in the country to have an internal medicine training opportunity in a rural place.
We
We built a 4-apartment house for them right next to the Catholic Church to keep them honest.
I really love small town medicine. I love primary care. I really like developing relationships with people.
In a small hospital, we do a lot of things.
You get to be a little bit of a jack of all trades.
Programs like this are important to expose people who are training in medicine to these areas. I mean, it's a different type of practice.
Things that need to get done locally, the patients don't want to drive, half hour, an hour away.
As time goes on and physicians are, retiring, we're going to need new people to come in and practice and be comfortable practicing in a place where they do have to be a little more self-sufficient.
I think we're just very fortunate to have Maine Med in the state, and as aggressive and modern as it is, I applaud this current project as just one more effort at being the best hospital we can have.
That brings me to introduce someone who's made a deep commitment to ensuring that Maine Medical Center remains the system's bedrock for years to come. Portland Sea Dogs chairman and member of Maine Health's Board of Trustee, Bill Burke.
In honor of Maine Medical Center's 150th anniversary, and to more fully realize our vision to make Maine's communities the healthiest in America, it's my great pleasure to announce the public launch of the Next 150, the campaign for Maine Medical Center. Our goal is to secure $150 million, making this the largest campaign in Maine Medical Center's history. A campaign of this magnitude comes along once in a generation, and this is our time. The Next 150, the campaign for Maine Medical Center, is about the future of healthcare for our state and region. Through this effort, we will make the experience here even better for patients and families as we continue to fuel the advancements and innovations in clinical care for which we are known. We will advance our efforts to create a brighter, more promising future for all of Maine by educating the clinicians we need and solving our biggest health challenges. And we will strengthen our statewide healthcare system, ensuring that it works seamlessly, accessibly, and affordably for patients and their families, giving each person the right care in the right setting at the right time. We must expand and modernize our facilities to ensure that Maine Medical Center continues to be a first-rate, accessible hub of high-acuity services for patients. This campaign seeks to raise $100 million to add 458,000 square feet of modern space to our campuses. Maine Medical Center has emerged as a national leader in redesigning training programs to develop a workforce prepared for the demands of today's healthcare environment. This campaign seeks to raise $25 million so that we can educate more of the primary care physicians, specialists, nurses, and clinicians whom Maine so urgently needs. Maine Medical Center's mandate is to create new advancements in care, not simply react to them. This campaign seeks to raise $25 million so that Maine can continue to play a key role in reimagining healthcare for our state, region, and nation, today and for the next 150 years. The goals set forth in this campaign are ambitious, and my co-chairs and I believe that there has never been a better opportunity for those who call Maine home to directly shape the health of our region, both now and for future generations. During what has been our quiet phase, we have already had strong, broad support from throughout the community, from individuals, corporations, and foundations, clinicians, and staff. The generous support of quiet phase donors for the Next 150 campaign has been instrumental in creating the momentum needed to achieve the goals of this historic campaign. Our deepest and most heartfelt thank you to all who have contributed. We are thrilled to announce that thanks to the tremendous benefactors who have already pledged support for this campaign, we have currently raised a remarkable $135 million. Thanks to your generosity, we are within reach of making this vision of a healthier future a reality. There's one particular campaign commitment that is so impactful it requires further elaboration and celebration. We are thrilled to be able to announce that Maine Medical Center has recently received the largest philanthropic commitment in its 150-year history. John and Leslie Malone, summer residents of Boothbay, have stepped forward with a transformative gift of $25 million in support of Maine Medical Center and the Next 150 campaign. Like so many others who have committed so generously to support this effort, the Malones are grateful for excellent care provided to their family during a time of need. in this case, cardiac care. They also believe strongly in ensuring that all who call Maine home, even if only part-time, have access to world-class health care. Their amazing generosity will allow us to realize our vision for health care for Maine and will move Maine Medical Center to the next echelon of excellence. In recognition of this tremendous investment to improve the quality of health care for the people of Maine, the new Congress Street Tower being constructed on Maine Medical Center's Bram Hall campus will officially be named the Malone Family Tower. This commitment from the Malone family would not have been possible without Paul Coulombe. Paul has been a fierce advocate for this campaign and has encouraged many others to become involved. Beyond just advocating, Paul and his family, his wife Ghislaine and daughter Michelle Coulombe Hagerty, have made their own remarkable pledge to name our other signature building as part of this campaign, the Coulombe Family Tower. Paul, we are so grateful for your support. Thank you. Okay, I've been talking for a while, but there's a couple more people I want to make sure you all hear from. We have to social distance, but luckily I know just the right place. See you in a bit.
Bill, we're here. Good to see you. We got all this space. I thought Margaret was going to be here. I thought she was too. At what time? She's always on time. She's never late.
Hi, guys. Bill, Chris, hi. Look up. I'm up here. Oh, I thought this was going to be a Zoom call. What's going on?
Margaret and Bill, two great people to work with. There are a couple of things that stand out in my mind the way this campaign has unfolded itself. The first is we've got this world-class cabinet that has done a lot of work at the early stages of this campaign, and we are on our way to what will obviously be one of the best campaigns in the history of Maine Medical Center. Secondly, Rich Peterson, Jeff Sanders, Bill Caron, three individuals that have made this campaign possible. Without them, we just couldn't do the work. And finally, we've got a community that's opened its heart. We have had leadership giving at levels we've never seen before, and truly Maine Medical Center is heading in a direction where we've never seen this kind of fundraising in its history, and we're pretty excited about it. It really is. And thanks, Chris, for everything you've done. Margaret, I wish you could have been with us tonight, but it's been great to see you anyway.
Oh, it's been great being with you guys, and thank you to all of you who are tuning in. We thank you for your support. Have a great summer.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
Now it gives me great pleasure to introduce someone I know pretty well, and you too, somebody that loves Maine, my father, President George W. Bush.
Healthcare changes dramatically, and frankly, that's one of the most exciting aspects about the future of this country. New medicines, new technologies are always evolving. As medicine changes, it's important for a healthcare system to change with it. And in order to change with the medical changes, there needs to be a strong capital base. The capital campaign, in my view, is not just to repair windows. It is to make sure that Maine Medical is in a position to be able to receive the technologies of the future to save more lives. Maine Medical has got great doctors and wonderful nurses and a very competent administrative staff. And Mother and Dad knew that. Toward the end of my dad's life, the Maine Medical staff was unbelievable nurturing, not only to him, but to those of us who loved him dearly. You know, when Mom got sick, she went there and they treated her unbelievably well. In return, she and Dad wanted to give back to the people that helped in their moment of need. The thing that's important about Maine Medical and those who are inclined to support it is that it's necessary to stay ahead of the power curve, and therefore fundraising drives are necessary. Capital campaigns mean that a good healthcare system will remain a good healthcare system. Well, if my mother were here today, the first thing she'd do is say, get your feet off the chair. She would say to the people listening to this campaign, just don't sit there, write a check. Maine Medical is a source of excellence, and therefore Laura and I are proud contributors, and I hope everybody listening to this video will reach a little deeper into their pocket to make this capital campaign a success.
A thriving Maine Medical Center is critical to ensuring the future health of our community.
For my wife and I, this was a once-in-a-career, once-in-a-generation opportunity to support something that really is going to deliver the highest quality of care for the patients of Maine.
Maine Medical Center is a platinum level of health care for the state of Maine.
If you've got a first-class hospital, you can attract the type of commercial tenants that will make the city grow and that will employ Portland people.
Spectrum and our providers are invested in both in Maine Medical Center and our communities, and we share a common vision towards providing the best care in the healthiest communities in America.
Maine Medical's played a very big role in my life. We couldn't have asked any more than the care and the empathy that they provide.
A medical center like Maine Medical Center both provides services for current patients and modern and innovative services for the patients of the future. It's necessary to get private donations to do that.
To make sure that we can pay it forward for the future generations that will be living and prospering here in Maine. And it's a very, very important campaign that requires a lot of support.
This is a campaign that I think you need to support.
Because we all need it.
We need the whole community to support such a significant and large project.
I'd like to thank everyone here for joining us in this unique virtual way to launch the next 150 campaign and to celebrate the first 150 years of Maine Medical Center. At this point, you've heard many reasons for supporting this campaign. I know I am inspired to give, and I hope that you too are inspired to become involved in helping to strengthen Maine's healthcare for the next 150 years. In his interview, my dad shared that his mom and dad chose to support Maine Medical Center because they wanted to give back to the people who helped in their time of need. For me, this is what building a stronger community for the benefit of all means. Even if you've had the good fortune to not need the services of Maine Medical Center, chances are someone you know or love has or will. It is imperative for those who call Maine home, even for just part of the year, to have strong health care on which they can rely. With your help, Maine Medical Center will continue to lead the way in providing excellent care to the people of Maine. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Maine Med is invaluable to this community and to this state.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
You don't know what kind of care you might need in your own future. Keeping this facility at the top of its game is a very important thing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The effort to save your loved ones' lives are not only coming from their heart, it's coming from their knowledge, their training, and what equipment do they have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It couldn't be a better investment to yourself and all of us who are going to need health care in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We provide services for our patients that are not available elsewhere. It is a responsibility for us to provide that level of care. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To have a medical center of the quality and caliber of Maine Medical Center available 24/7 is priceless.
The next 150.
The next 150.
The next 150.
The next 150 starts with you.
With you.
Starts with you.